completely winging this again.
Again.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
I'm just drawing upon my memories of other people's podcasts to try and...
At least you have that experience.
Okay. I need to count in my head. 5, 4, 3. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Who knows what time it is when you're listening to this podcast. But it's time for another episode of Neatening Technology with Chris and Justin from HDANYWHERE.
Absolutely. Welcome, everybody. Today's session is going to be a little bit about what we saw, what we showed, and what we learned at ISE.
Yeah, for the benefit of people that didn't go.
Yeah.
So let's start with, if you bumped into someone in the street and they just asked you quickly, ISE in Barcelona, was it any good?
It was great.
Yeah.
It was great. It was better than we expected.
Absolutely.
And we made the most of it because we went in with the right attitude, right?
Yeah. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it too, to be honest with you.
Yeah. There were more people than we were expecting. A lot of exhibitors put heart and soul and money into their displays and their booths. And official figures are out. It's just under 44,000 people attended.
Yeah.
Which, under the circumstances?
There were more people there than I thought there would be, but I still don't believe the figures.
Yeah.
But anyway, overall, it was well attended. It was a good venue.
It's a great venue.
I actually think the venue is better than ISE.
It's certainly easier to navigate, easier to get around.
Nicer halls.
Yeah, much more space between the booths, nice wide. You're not having that traffic jam, those bottlenecks that we experienced in Amsterdam, for example.
Seemed to be, little things like nicer toilets.
Yeah, and more of them.
More toilets, more places to get food and drink.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd remember ISE in Amsterdam, you'd get to the toilet and, there'd be an inch of fluid on the floor.
And a queue out the door.
A queue out the door.
Yeah, yeah.
Stuff like that. So, yeah, the venue was good. Public transport, I'm not sure, because we found everywhere to be walkable, really.
We did, although to be fair, you are a bit of a machine. So we did I had a personal best of 33,000 steps and 25 Ks.
That's great.
Just walking with you, but everything was walkable and accessible.
And they have something like Uber called
Free Now.
Free Now.
Yeah, make sure if you're going to Barcelona that you get the Free Now app.
Which
you
is
need that to catch a taxi.
Basically the same as Uber.
Yeah. Yeah.
So venue was good. On a downside, I'd say it's a Southern European show location.
Yeah.
Which makes logistics, transport maybe a little bit more expensive than getting to Amsterdam. But the city itself is probably worth paying that a little bit more to go to there.
Sure.
I think that you've got the Gothic Quarter, the Marina.
Beautiful.
We had a little walk to the Olympic Village.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not sure what the weather's going to be like in January when it's the next show. But I don't think it's going to be raining and freezing cold like it would be.
Not quite. I'd imagine it's going to be a lot more temperate. Yeah. The weather was beautiful now.
Yes, it was.
It really was.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have a pool in our hotel, but it was like, if we did, it would have been tempting to spend a few hours by the pool.
Yes.
So the days are longer on the show floor. So if you are a visitor and you are only coming for a day or two, you can get a bit more out of the day.
Get a lot more done, absolutely.
I would say that it's very close to the airport too.
Yes,
well.
Surprisingly so. Very easy to get access. And there's metro and the train and the taxis, the Free Now Uber thing.
Yeah. Be prepared for a lot of bread, cheese, and ham.
Tapas, baby, tapas.
And
there's so much
bravas.
tapas. Yeah.
So much tapas.
Listen, the
everywhere.
food was great. Especially as a South African, I can tell you the food was varied in some ways and certainly very tasty. And they love their cured meats. It's delicious.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So all in all, if you didn't go to ISE this year, we'll be recommending that people do attend it in January 2023.
Absolutely. We'll be there.
So in terms of what vibes you were picking up off the show floor, what were the themes of the show? What were the products that were mainly on display? For our market, I think it's a bit of I don't know, there's not much new stuff.
It was definitely probably a year of consolidation. And I think what was interesting to see was, I mean, and not to sound funny about it, was just we were glad to see some people still there. You know, after two and a bit years of dealing with COVID and the like, that guys were still there and ready to commit. But we were one of the few brands, I think, that had the luxury and privilege of, and the foresight to be launching new products and new technologies. But you're right, there wasn't anything groundbreakingly, earth-shatteringly new.
No, but I think January 2023, us, our competitors, other players in the space will be announcing new stuff.
Absolutely. I think it's game on. It's going to be a spectacular show from that point of view.
I think us smaller guys are going to be trying to take advantage of some of the stock issues that the bigger guys are having.
Yeah. Listen, to be cheeky about it, but we're well-stocked people, and we're proud of that. It's not a small feat, and a lot of our competitors are not in that fortunate position.
Absolutely. I would have said one of the there was a lot of meeting room solutions. Like, it seems like a lot of brands are doing conferencing and video conferencing and meeting room stuff.
Meeting room space, absolutely. That and control interface. A lot of interfacing is around that now. Absolutely. Yeah.
What else can we say to people? So we only had a small space this year because to explain why we were dipping our toe back in the water.
Yeah.
Just kind of like a recce off the show.
Yeah.
But next year we've rebooked for a different hall. We're going to be in Hall 3 in a great location, a bigger space, and hopefully we'll see a lot of UK installers there and a lot of our international friends as well.
And you know, if you're in two minds about whether you should be coming, if you're not getting the vibe here, we're telling you really should be coming. Yeah. But next year, in a bigger, better space, we're going to have a lot more to show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've taken this time to learn and to see, and we're going to have a good ISE 2023.
Yeah, I'm actually, I've got to be honest, I normally dislike doing shows.
You sure? Sure.
Yeah, they're not my favourite thing.
No, they can suck the life out of your veins.
But they can. But this year coming, I'm actually, now we've done the recce of the city and we know what it's like in terms of transportation and what have you. I feel like we can enjoy our time there, knowing where stuff is. And a tip, I think we should do tips.
Yeah.
Tips for travellers in 2023.
So the first one we've said already, which was get the Free Now app. Just makes it so much easier to call a cab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plan your days for the show halls, because they don't give yourself too much to do in a single day. So
and there's a lot to see.
There's a lot to see, and you're going to need to spend time with people and on people's booths to get the full value from, because you might be spending 300 quid on a plane ticket, maybe another 300 quid on accommodation.
Yep.
So to get your value, you really need to be absorbing as much information from the people on the show floor.
Book your hotels early. They've got some great hotels, and a lot of them are very close within walking distance to the venue.
Absolutely.
So make sure you get your hotel bookings done early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And restaurant bookings. I mean, if you're not in the fortunate position where your suppliers will take you out to dinner, and you want to do your own thing, research what restaurants you want to go to beforehand and try and get that booking, because we struggled.
Yeah, there were some times where it was tricky.
I think a big difference to Amsterdam is in Amsterdam we were kind of able to do two things of an evening, maybe drinks with one customer or partner, and then meeting someone else later on.
Yeah, yeah.
But it felt like in Barcelona you only really had the opportunity to do one thing.
Yes. And also it's a slower pace in Barcelona. There was the one restaurant that just on the marina, but it was tourist trappy, but they were really only happy to make us eat and virtually shift us out as soon as we were wiping the crumbs off our face. Yeah. But for the most part, the lifestyle and the restaurants there are geared for sit down, relax, have drinks. You're going to be here for a while. Yes. That's the style. That's the life these people live. So yeah.
What other tips would we have for the show for visitors? CEDIA didn't have they normally do some kind of event at the show. No, they didn't have that this year. I don't know whether they're going to do that next year.
Not too sure. They haven't said. But there were a series of those large events happening from various manufacturers. So some of them are quite popular, and everybody knows that certain people didn't come to the expo that are known for throwing large events.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, again, plan your, like Chris said earlier, you just plan your time, because when you take those events into consideration, those networking opportunities, yes, free beer and food or whatever, but the chance to network is important. Make sure that you're scheduling those, because as we've just mentioned, you're not always going to be able to fit in 2 or 3 things in an evening anymore.
No. Wow, that's a sign.
Yeah, that was definitely a sign. Was that a power? That's, ladies and gentlemen, this is the problem with occupancy sensing in certain environments. Yeah.
Okay. So, parting comments then. Parting comments before we had to end the podcast.
Right. So, 1, it was great to see a very vibrant, alive, and energetic industry getting back on its feet. I think if there's one thing you take away from ISE, our industry is alive and kicking and ready to kick ass and take names.
I agree.
You get on that bus, because just wipe off whatever's happened in the last 2 years. We're all going places and doing things.
It does feel like not just that it's vibrant in terms of there's projects out there for people and a sort of buoyant market, but it also feels like the camaraderie amongst suppliers and customers and the industry is good.
Yeah.
There's not like I've said it before, I don't think there's the same nasty competitiveness that there used to be.
No.
So, no, it's good times. And, let's hope we see a lot of UK installers representing at ISE 2023.
Absolutely. And for those of you from further afield, once again, speaking as a South African, it's worth the trip. Make the trip. Come and learn and see and absorb yourself in the power and energy of our industry.
Yeah.
Come to Barcelona next year. We're not paid to say this. We're saying this because we mean it.
Yeah. Well, Spanish, if you're from South America, maybe you prefer to go to Barcelona. Maybe it's even easier to go to Spain from a South American country.
Yeah.
I think next episode of the podcast, we'll maybe try and get a guest on.
Absolutely. We're going to expand this podcast into something that is, it talks about us, but it also talks about the people we deal with in the industry, our distributors, our dealers, as well as bringing in some guests in time to help add value to you and your business. When you're listening to us, it's not just about us talking about what we do, but also just trying to help you get a perspective on your business.
Exactly. This episode, we've not spoke about any HDANYWHERE products.
Pretty much.
Per se. We just spoke about how we found the show.
Yeah.
On a personal level. And next podcast, if you're interested in being a guest, just ping us a message.
Absolutely.
If you want us to cover any topics, again, ping us a message.
Yep.
And so that's the end of this episode.
Thanks for joining us, and thanks for listening.
Cue jingle.